One of the foundational offenses that's going to be in college football 25 is an air raid based offensive attack. This was made famous by Hal Mummy and Mike Leach. Obviously, Lincoln Riley is kind of taking it to another level with USC. We're going to be breaking down in this video 5 core principles of the air raid, and these principles of the air raid offense or concepts can be cross applied to any formation in Madden, any formation in college football 25. And the reason we're showing this in Madden is because college football 25 is going to be dropping later today. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel here if you want to get full tips that I'm going to be dropping later today. The other thing I wanted to say real quick is we are going to be having a ton of ebooks drop this week on our school.com community page, school.com/Cody Ballard. The link to that community is going to be down in the description. For just $10 a month, you'll be able to get access to all of my offensive and defensive ebooks for both college football 25 and Madden 25. So I'd love to have you over there as a part of the community. And we are going to be dropping a full air raid offensive ebook this year as well. So make sure you're over there if you want to check all that out. So what I wanted to do in this video is I wanted to show you kind of some basic principles. And this is the actual air raid playbook in Madden. And to do so, I made this formation pretty decent in, I believe it was Madden 20 that I started running this, but this is a really good formation. Spread wide slot, spread wide flex. In general, if you were to ask Hal Mummy what's the best way to run the air raid, probably going to say 2x2 spread, just because it's balanced. It spaces the field really, really well. I talked the other day about why this gun trips is going to be really good next year. And a lot of people are talking about this gun cluster being the best offense. So anyways, all that to say, all of these are in the air raid playbook. So the main formation we're going to be autoing into is this spread by flex. The audibles I like to set for this is mesh, Y corner mesh. And then from here, you can kind of go down. There's this play. I believe it's called stick. Stick's not as good as it used to be. So we're actually going to utilize just a basic. Let's see if I can find. We want Y sail in here for sure. And then really kind of get some basic stuff accomplished, like drive. Drive's a good play just because it has that seam streak on the left. So, and then over here, we're going to set Y cross. You can have the RPO read screen, super good run play. We're going to have the smash seam play, hitch seam play, and then PA read. And then the play we're going to be coming out in is curl wheel. Now, in general, I did want to cover this before we get too deep into the video. The 5 concepts we're going to touch on, I hope they have all of them here. The first one is a stick concept. So as you can see here, it's a 3 wide receiver concept, 3 receiving threat concept, in which the innermost receiver runs the stick route, the next receiver runs outside a flat, and the other receiver is a vertical or clear out play. So that's one of the plays we're going to show you. Another play we're going to show you is mesh. I love this play. This mesh could also be a shallow cross. See if I can have shallow cross. Shallow cross route and a dig route are coming from opposite directions. They could either be the same depth or they could be a little bit of a different depth. In this example, we're going to show you shallow today. Slot cross, this is also Y cross. I don't know if I have Y cross here. I think it's just called slot cross in this concept. But slot receiver runs an intermediate crossing route across the field, and then you have a backside in route that kind of replaces that middle of the field attacking threat. Oftentimes, this is paired with an Ohio concept where you have a fade and an out route on the backside. We'll get into why that's a really good concept in a minute. And then I think we have the flood play. Here we go, flood. This is also known as sail. I don't think I have sail. Actually, no, we do have Y cross. That is not Y cross. That's a different version of Y cross. But the air raid version of, if I can find it, wherever the sail or flood. So essentially, 3-level route where outside receiver is deep, inside receiver is a medium depth, and then a short route. So we have flood. We have, I call flood sail. They're similar. They're not exactly the same. Sail is a little bit more like Ohio, but we have flood or sail, slot cross, stick, shallow cross, and then the other one, I don't know if we have it here. It's got to be in here somewhere, 4 verticals. The vertical go route spaced evenly across the intermediate area of the field. Okay, so those are the main concepts within the air raid offense. Mesh is one of those plays. It's kind of an outlier. It is certainly a mainstay concept, but I would say that shallow might be a little bit more of a versatile play, and mesh is something that you would have to like kind of really kind of major in if you want to have that in your arsenal. Okay, so the play we're going to come out in is curl wheel. I'm going to explain how this works. So if you take a look here at this curl wheel play, you see that you have this this post route to the right side. This is what makes the play good In every play, there is typically one, maybe two routes that make the play really, really, really good. So what I like to do with this play is I actually like to run essentially a stick concept, but I like to run it a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is we're going to hitch the tight end on the right side. We're going to table route the running back. This is going to create the stick. Now, if we were to actually run the true, I don't know if I have it here, Y sail, where we just hitch this guy, this is also stick, okay? The reason I'm using a post route instead of a vertical is just because it's better against man-to-man. So if you're not really worried about man-to-man, you could kind of go back and not run that. But in general, this is the idea of a stick. And then I'm using this post as a vertical route. And then what we're going to do here on the left-hand side is we're going to kind of piece this with an Omaha type concept or a zig and a zig streak. So this is going to be good against man, good against zone. Really, our first read is going to be this hitch. As you see how it kind of holds those yellows underneath. And then see how that post just kind of gets into a really good position on the field. That's why I like to play a lot. Another way to run this, kind of same type of concept, if you wanted to use a clear out streak, would be something like this, for example. This is a really good play. Another thing you could do is just a slant route. In college football, the slants are going to be a little bit better, and so you'll see that the slant will kind of get into that spot once that yellow zone goes to defend the stick route. So the stick play is really good for like any kind of zone blitz. So let's just show it this direction, but basically this right here, play art. So what you'll see is, see how that stick route is going to come open super early. And you can run this same basic concept a lot of different ways. You can get to it a lot of different ways. Like, for example, because really if you look at what we're trying to do, we're really just putting a lot of stress on kind of this vert hook defender or these overhangs over here, and we're high-lowing them with our route combo. So a way that we could accomplish the same basic idea would be we're going to out-route this outside player. We're going to slot post this inside player, and we're going to streak our running back, maybe something like this. This accomplishes really the same purpose. You see how it puts a lot of stress on that middle of the field defender, and then you're able to basically choose between the two. Okay, so that's how you can kind of take one concept and then, kind of tweak it. So, like, for example, another thing you could do that we haven't gotten too far into here yet would be something like this. This is still kind of a stick concept if you look at kind of how it's going to work. See how that yellow zone just sits down on that post or curl, and then you're able to throw your vertical route. So those are some different variations of stick and kind of the way you could use it. Another way you could use it is this, but in general, stick is typically supposed to be a quick gameplay. And then on the back end of this, I really like the smart routed in route, because if the yellow goes to the tight end like so, then you're going to see this in route really kind of put some stress on that defender. So those are some different ways in which you can kind of get to the play. But in general, the next play I want to go over really a little bit more of a power play. I'll come back to why stick is another reason why stick is really good. And we didn't really get into this yet. But it's basically, so the reason that stick is so good is if they were to go to a double flat defense like this, where they're usually in the middle of the field, now they're going to have to choose between a lot of things we have here. So you could even just go double hitches on the left side. But basically these hitches are just going to sit in the seam area. And so what that does is it removes the capability to overload zones on the sideline. And then this is where we're going to start to attack the sideline. So the way we attack the sideline here is we can go to a play such as Y corner. We're just going to streak this outside player, flat this slot, and then we're going to backside in route. So essentially this is the sail play. And this sail route in the real college football and what we're going to be able to do next year is really more of like a 15-yard out route, 10 to 15-yard out route. But a corner route kind of attacks, to a degree, the same depth for our purposes. So you see there, that's what's going to happen. So how do they defend that corner route? Well, the best way to defend that corner route is to put a cloud flat out there. And so if they were to put a cloud flat out there, then what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to hit this backside back. As you'll see, this flat is wide open. So then how do you stop the flat and the deep flat? Well, the best way to do that is going to be to play cover two to drop this guy in a yellow, or I'm sorry, a hard flat. And now we put a lot of stress on you with our stick play, because that stick play, as you see, is really kind of attacking that seam area of the field. So this is kind of the general idea of attacking space within your offense. The next play that we're going to go over is Y cross. A lot to go over here, but at the core, we're going to have a peak, and then we're really looking at this out route. So this out route can be a flat, could be a zig, could be a 10-yard out, whatever you want to do. But essentially, you have that out route, and then that out route, you see how it kind of pulls that defender, and then that crossing route comes over the top. So what a lot of times will happen is when you go to Y cross, a lot of times that hard flat, see how it kind of sits on that out route, and then this comes open over the top. Another thing that you could do with this is kind of change the depths of things. So if you wanted to, you could run something like this, and now that deep out route, see how it gets a little bit more outside. Now, obviously, you're going to need to get it a little bit even more so outside, but in general, if, let's say they're playing like man-to-man, this out route can be very advantageous from this alignment. And of course, I got bumped, but that's also why the zig route is really good as well. So, like, let's say we're running this. Watch this whip route. Cuts outside, boom, and then I'm able to manipulate the coverage over there. So that's another thing that you can do within this Y cross type of play. You don't have to use this Y cross route. If you want to use a slot apprentice crosser, you certainly can, and you could throw that right here and ag in front of that KO, or you could wait until he gets all the way across the formation, and you'll see here that you can throw this and have a lot of space there. And again, obviously that's going to take a ton of time to develop. But if you think about it, what's going to stop that Y cross play? Well, they're going to have to play a cloud flat, which is why I like the zig or the basic 5-yard out, because that cloud flat, you'll see here, he's backing up. I can now throw down underneath, and they're in the same basic dilemma that they were in previously defensively. So how are they going to defend all that? Well, they're going to have to double flat over there on that right side, which in turn is going to open up the middle of the field, which is why Y cross has this little post curl, running back kind of check down read. But if you watch this, the user has to go with that crossing route. If he doesn't, you can throw this. And then if the user does go with the crossing route, I'll show you what that looks like. User's going to go with the crossing route across the middle of the field. Then what you're going to be able to do, whoops, I called the wrong play, sorry. Then what you're going to be able to do is you'll see that this curl will kind of sit right there. Super good play. And that curl can be a backside end route if you wanted to do it that way as well. The next play, so those are some of the mainstay ways in which we break down zone coverages. And once we get them to start to go to essentially a triangle coverage, which is to use these hard flats, and then they're going to have 2 hook curls underneath so they can stop kind of the stick stuff we're doing, the underneath yellows. Then we're going to attack them more vertically with a play like 4 verticals. So the 4 vertical setup I use is out of this hitch seam. And the reason I use this is because it has this angled streak. So what I like to do is put a comeback route on the left side receiver, in route the running back, and fade the right side receiver. And what you'll see here is that this seam streak will basically split the safeties, and this can be a really big play for you offensively. Now, another way in which we can attack kind of that same space and area of the field is by going to PA read, because as you can see here, this has our, and I'm going to move to the ball to the other hash mark, but this has a deep post route. So with this deep post route, there's a lot of things we can do around this, but in general, the main purpose of it is to attack a cover 2 coverage. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a shallow cross concept. So the way we're going to create a shallow cross concept is we're going to drag this left side slot receiver. We're going to slot apprentice post the tight end. If you don't have slot apprentice post, you can put him on a smart route in. And then we're going to just block the running back. So this is what the play looks like. Reason this is going to be good is because you'll see that this post will basically split these safeties. Now, the reason that the post did not split the safeties right there was because the tight end did not get across the formation fast enough. And this could also look something like this. But in general, we go to cover 2. And now you'll see that because that tight end is going a little bit more across. See how that deep half really gets taken by that? And then this is going to be a one-play score against cover 2 coverage. So within this, this is the basic framework that I use almost any offense. I want to be able to at least do these 5 key things because I see them as super effective. So again, and you can leave the play action here, but it's not only the fact that you have this, but you're creating a nice high-low in the middle of the field. And as you see there, that tight end post is super, super open. So the shallow cross concept is one of my favorite. It's also one of the best for attacking any kind of man-to-man. So if you get man-to-man coverage, this is a really good play. So you have the drag coming across. You have that post, and then you have that other post kind of layering over the top to be able to make a big play. Another thing you can do, you don't have to just leave that comeback route out there. So in some years of Madden or in some years of college football, the comeback route might not beat man well. Maybe the man beating route this year is the C route. Maybe it's the curl route. Maybe it's the smart routed out route, which is what college football, we'll see that be really good in college football 25. But you can put whatever route you want to be able to do that. Just make sure that it essentially goes to the outside and pulls that outside half so that you really probably wouldn't want a streak, in my opinion. Really what I would want is like a 15-yard comeback, some kind of super deep comeback route or deep out route to me is ideal because that's going to pull the zone. And then if they're not playing, like if they're playing hard flats, which I'll show you that real quick. Let's say you're playing somebody and they're playing those hard flats because you're running things like stick and all this stuff, and you kind of see how the scheme's coming together here. You go to something like this, and now you can kind of throw that out route against that coverage. So all in all, guys, the air raid offense comes fully equipped with all kinds of different plays. We didn't even get into the RPO game. With the RPO and the little screen game, you always want to have at least 1 or 2 of those that are really good, just to kind of allow you to attack the defense horizontally as well as vertically and horizontally and diagonally. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. This is the air raid offense. It's going to be really good in college football 25, and there's going to be a lot of principles from it that you can apply to any offense that you want to run. If you want to get access to all of my Madden and college football offensive and defensive ebooks, the link to sign up for our school community is going to be down in the description below.